So before I add that next sheet, let's fix this technical sheet label here. That's the drawing name. You can see it behind me. And if I click on it, um, what I'm going to do is just get rid of sheet. So it'll all fit in the title block correctly here. There we go. And that'll automatically rename on the other, on our navigation palette. So let's go ahead now and go to Sheets again and right click on it, make a new sheet, another E1 sheet. And we could actually call this sections. And well, we'll leave it at that. And let's go ahead and drag our section that we made earlier. Let me review that with you just in case. We cut a section through the whole building. I did that by grabbing the section tool, if you haven't done it, and just dragging all the way through and making sure that it went all the way through to the back of the building. So I'm going to delete that so we don't create it. And we're going to use this one. That section has already been created. We'll go to it. So it has a lot of the building detail in it. And I'm going to drag that sheet onto our new sheet that we've created called sections. So I'll drag that on. It's relatively small, so let's change the scale of it. Let's bump it up at least to 1/4 inch to a foot, I think would probably work. There we go. And of course, we're going to delete it again and drag it back on so we get the title bar kind of neatly aligned with it. And we have the crop box showing. So I want to make sure that the crop region is not visible. And that just makes it look neater on the page. So what I want to do now is show you how we can actually create these new views, a couple of new views detailing these areas that might be of particular interest to us. And a couple of things to think about if you're not seeing this back brick. All right, if you go to level 1 and you just grab your section box, you may find your section box isn't going all the way to the back wall. Also, if the level of detail, if you're not seeing these I-beams like this, it could also be that your level of detail, if I click into this, your level of detail is not set for fine. For instance, if I set it to coarse, you'll notice how it has a much different look to it. So we want to set that to fine. I'm going to go ahead and I'll leave this view activated now, and we're going to do a couple of things with our view tool. We're going to make 3 callouts. So I'm going to grab the callout tool, and I'm going to draw a rectangle, and I'm going to draw it in 3 specific locations: the foundation, the mezzanine floor, and then the top of the roof connection. I'm going to try and make these rectangles all very similar in size because we're going to lay these out next to each other on a drawing sheet. So I'm going to draw another rectangle here, and each time it's making that call out, you'll notice how I want that width, and I want the basic shape of that call out to be about the same each time. I can go back and adjust these. I'm just going to quickly make these. If I click on them, I can adjust the size a little bit. I'm not getting any hinting though that's helping me out with and I want this one to actually be just as tall as the other ones, so I'll stretch that out. Now this call out or this label on there, I want to just pull this all the way around to the other side, so I grab that little button and moved it. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to grab it and drag it all the way around and try to make it line up a little bit with the one above it. And then nice and neat and orderly looking. I'll probably stretch this foundation one out just a little bit more. Grab the little blue tab and pull it around. And now we have 3 callouts. Let's go ahead and kind of rename these section callouts. So I'm going to go, it's a section 1 callout, callout 1, but we might want to call it callout 1 will be foundation. Let's call it, I'm going to just call it foundation detail. And before I go and rename all of these, I'm going to actually pull one of those onto the sheet. So I'm going to right click, deactivate the view, and I'm going to grab that foundation detail and drag it onto the sheet, because I was really concerned that this would show up as foundation detail there also. So that looks pretty good. So let me go ahead and rename the other ones. I'm going to call this one mezzanine detail. Whoops, this is the roof detail, excuse me. Let me X that out. And then call out 2. And this one is the mezzanine detail. Okay, so I have all those selected. I'm going to just close them off so we don't have too many tabs going on here. And I'll zoom back. We already have the foundation detail on. I'm going to grab the roof detail. And I'm going to grab the mezzanine detail and place that one in the center. And they're a little bit small. I'm going to bump them up in size a little bit because they are details. We want to get in there and be able to work on them. So I'll bump them all up. I selected them all and hit apply. They also have that crop box showing, which is really kind of annoying. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. All right, and then, the other disturbing one is this one is much smaller than the other two. This one looks a little large. So I'm going to just go ahead and make some crop adjustments here. I'm going to go ahead and pull this one down just a tad. And the other one, the foundation one, looks a little bit small. So maybe I'll just pull this one up a little bit and deactivate the view. And then I'm just going to go ahead and delete these again and redrag them on the view to make sure that they line up nicely. So I'll put the foundation view first, mezzanine detail next. Notice when that title bar shows up, make sure that's centered, and then the roof detail last, and get that title bar lined up. And there we have 3 nice details on our sheet. Now we can actually further enhance these without doing too much work. If I click into this one and double click into it, I can actually start to adjust the rendering property. So I'm going to go to graphic display options, and I'm going to use a tool they call depth queuing. And I'm going to show depth. And what I can do is I can adjust how, if I hit apply, whether something shows or not. So I can control going back deeper, 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 and I can also control how much it shows up. So I can go back and catch an element and then make it really light if I want. So that's, and even if I pull the near, I can make actually things that are close, I believe, disappear. So we'll leave that set that way, and I'll click OK. So now you can see how the block behind it is lighter. Actually, I'll make it even a little bit lighter, and the foundation below. And just kind of helps to clear out what you're looking at. So I'll click OK on that and deactivate this view. Actually, one other thing I'd like to do is I'm going to pull these lines in a little bit. And I'll deactivate this view. We're not going to spend a lot of time detailing these. I just wanted us to get started with the idea of how we can, start to work in little detail areas. Maybe we'll come back to this. Excuse me, I'm going to activate this view again. We're going to go to that graphic display options, and we're going to use our depth queuing to show depth. And we're going to take the far away things and make them appear a little bit lighter. And maybe I'll make them even a little bit lighter. And I could actually probably make that a template. Let's call it depth. And see if we can apply it to all of them. So we'll deactivate. Oh, once again, we have these really long extension lines coming over here. I'll probably delete that view once I deactivate it. It may seem like I'm spending a lot of time on these, but this is activate the view, and let's go and see if we can find that depth queuing and apply that. And there we go. We have a nice effect added to that. And once again, I'll pull these closer, deactivate that view. And then once again, we'll grab all of these, or I'll just delete all of these, right? And we'll just quickly pull them back on the sheet again. And each time they get a little bit cleaner and neater with a little more clarity. There are a few other techniques, and I'm going to make sure that you have your level of detail set. You'll notice if you come in here, you can see where your I-beams are, you can see where your spandrel is, you can see actually the section, the way your windows are storefront glazing is meeting. The same thing over here, you can see your parapet coming up, your top of your roof here. So these really start to help illustrate how your building is constructed. So I really think that completes what we need to do in here. The only other thing I might want to do is deal with this idea of filling a region. If we go to annotate, and I click into this one, I can probably create a filled region. And right now it's a crosshatch, but what I want to do is, let's say I want to get rid of seeing this area down here, because it just seems like it's a bit confusing. So if I now create a detail region in there, I have something else that I can put over it. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to just show you how to create this as another type. I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to call it white. And instead of a diagonal crosshatch, we're going to use a solid fill. All right. And the foreground pattern color we're going to use as white. And the background pattern color we'll use as white. And the line weight we'll make as 0 so it doesn't show up. And we'll click apply. It won't let us do that, so we'll click apply and OK. And I want to know how to get rid of that masking line. Hold on just a second. I'm going to pause and figure out what I'm doing wrong there. Hold on just a second. Okay, I figured out what I was doing wrong. It was just a visual. I had this masking line was pulled all the way back until it was meeting that other line, and it was making the appearance of having a line. So once again, make sure you have this masking set up. We'll go to edit type here. I have a white pattern color and a white fill color. It's a masking region with a line weight of 1 and a solid fill for drafting. And click OK. And now we have a way of masking off that region. So it makes it appear as if that foundation is way back. It doesn't have a poche on it, kind of like these do. But it's just a technique. We'll get into some more in some later projects of all of the different things that we can add to these kind of section details. Remember, this is not in the model view. This is only existing in what we call the drafting view. It's only specifically for this one view. It doesn't affect the model in any way. So I'll deactivate this view. And we'll zoom out, and it looks like we have a pretty good looking sheet for your first pass at kind of pulling out these kind of technical details. I can see things need correcting. I can see this 5 is a little bit high compared to the other ones, but I'm pretty happy with this as a level of completion for this.